Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. Kaiser's out for a hike with Mama today, and some of our guests here that are up from Florida, and he decided to spend more time with them than he did with us here on the Kaiser Report today. But anyway, we have a few things to talk about. We'll get it out to you as quickly as possible. And we'll take a look around this country and some spots around the world that are still hotbeds of wars and things of that nature that need to be dealt with. And we have an administration that is hot on the trail of getting those things accomplished. And hopefully that will come to fruition real soon, because the loss of life and the loss of properties and things that are taking place in those war zones are not good for anyone. And we hope and pray that that will be settled, especially the nonsense that's going on in Gaza. When, my God, will they wake up and realize that if they get rid of Hamas, they get rid of their problem, they will have their city rebuilt and a place to live and call home, whether it's a Palestine state or not. They will have peace. Hamas is the problem. When are they going to realize that? You have a nutbag in New York that wants to be mayor of New York City that will not condemn the actions of Hamas, not only on the October 11th thing that happened there, but in general. They have done nothing but destroy the entire Gaza Strip as a result of their building tunnels, hiding behind children, hiding in hospitals and schools so as not to be disturbed or hit in any sort of an attack or retaliation for the bad behavior that they are exhibiting. And what would be going through the mind of a Jewish person in New York that would cast a vote for Mandani there with all the communistic views, the hate and rhetoric that he has exposed himself with over the anti-Jewish outlook that he takes upon all of the Jewish people living in the New York City area or any of those 5 boroughs that will be affected by an election of a despot such as this. We're talking, when we talk about Ma'am Donnie, Zophor, or whatever his first name is, we're talking about a trust fund baby that tried to use race to get into a college and was still denied. We have a person here that has never worked a day in his life. And if this sounds familiar to you, you must know Bernie Sanders, because this is what you have when you have a dyed-in-the-wool communist getting into our government, trying to force a change in our Constitution to benefit whatever they believe should be given to everybody and taken away from anybody that works for it. That's it in a nutshell, everyone. So stop and think, and if you have Jewish friends, such as I do, you would have to ask them, you want to help your own religion that's being trod upon and has been for decades, do something at the voting booth. Don't just automatically vote Democrat because you can keep rent-controlled housing or whatever it is that you believe should remain in the hands of a democratic socialist government. You know, some of you know how well socialism works. If you were lucky enough to go to school when they actually taught real history, you would quickly understand how that works. Well, that takes us for a look-see into our congressional seats one more time. And I guess that Jake Tapper had Nancy Pelosi on a interview process that went slightly off a script, and she does not like it when you take her off script because she's there to throw talking points at you, which are usually anti anything Trump. She can't even say his name without spitting. She is that affected in the twilight zone by Trump derangement syndrome. But before we give you what Nancy had to say, we should take a look at what Caroline Leavitt had to say with regard to the push for legislation to prevent people coming into Congress and getting ultra rich from inside trading, things that they may have been privileged to know about before the public ever got to see. So we'll take a look at Caroline Leavitt, and then we'll fall right into the Tapper interview, which is quite interesting. But Nancy Pelosi always provides a giggle when you look at her plasticized face and listen to her gibberish that she now puts out in place of speech. Whether or not most people would like to attribute that to alcohol, but I'm not sure that that's really the problem. I think we have some dementia problems there, both with her and her very lucky husband that outdid all of the trading houses in that particular year. But let's go ahead and take a look here.
Talked with the president about his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress. He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that bill?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
But I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that have been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now, rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid.
It's interesting, very interesting, that they have done so well just by chance. And then she has to put out the lie about the person who attacked her poor husband was doing the bidding of Donald Trump. What? It's been proven otherwise. He was not a MAGA supporter, as she's trying to lay out there, to once again distract you from what the truth is so she can make her points against this administration. She did it in his first term and should have been at least reprimanded for the crime of ripping up that speech behind the president during that presidential address. Sad but true. So we have a lot of things that are going on inside our Congress that, in my mind, aren't totally okay. Like some of the foreign-born people that are sitting in seats shouting about how loyal they are to Somalia, and now we have one that ran off to Mexico City to say that her first love is Guatemala, and she's sitting in a seat, a legislative seat with foreign affair affiliations that should not be taking place. And why is this being allowed to happen? If the president has to be American-born, I believe that it is not too far-fetched that we ask that most of our lawmakers are of the same statute, or at least love America, not say that their country of origin is their primary and prima facie duty to take care of. I don't know where these people come off looking at this, but, we have American-born congressional people that should be questioned about things that they say and do. And if you ever wondered why Jasmine Crockett doesn't want to see redistricting happening in Texas, because she's not a resident of her particular district that she represents. And it's come out now, and she's shaking a little bit over this. And the reason for her massive street talk rhetoric that she puts out is a distraction one more time, which we know that politicians love the distraction. Don't look behind that curtain, because you don't know what's going on behind that curtain. We will never be privileged of that. We don't have a membership to that particular club that they're in, and we don't know what the rules of engagement are with most of the people that are elected by us to go do a specific job in Congress and then end up enriching themselves, and then when they are elected, halfway through their first term, they're already running for re-election. And this is a travesty to put forth to the American people that put their trust and faith and hope in that particular person that was elected to an office to do the job of the people. And we, the people, have had enough. And if we didn't tell you in November, we'll tell you again in the next midterm election, because there are an awful lot of American people that think every day, have a modicum of common sense, and will prevail. This is not a socialistic government. We are a constitutional republic, and we are a democracy, and no one is taking the democracy or threatening your democracy at all. So stop listening to the people on the left and some of the sycophants that are over on the right trying to convince you that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Just take a look at the last 6 months, folks, and you'll realize that he's there to do the job he said he was going to do. All through his campaign, he said, I'll make this promise and I will make sure the promise is completed. But this man has had to jump hurdles for the last 10 years to even get to the position where he can help. and it is helping. There is no doubt in my mind that we're a better country in this world today as a result of this administration. But let's take a look at Jasmine, and it'll explain to you why she doesn't want those Democrats to come back from Illinois and vote on this redistricting thing that's happening in Texas right here.
I know that this legislature did ask us as members of Congress to confirm our addresses. I don't know how many of us actually still reside in the districts that we represent. I do not currently reside in my district based upon the plan that has been drawn, which is another red flag. In addition to courts consistently looking at how many people have been moved.
Well, we're waiting.
So she is worried, and she should be worried, because I don't believe after her performances that she has destroyed herself with, like being a little hood rat, that she's not, and she's portraying someone. Most of these politicians are actors in their own right, and they portray something that is not at all them. And we see it. We see the change in people once they get that seat in Congress. It does really show itself with some of these characters. So what does it all meme? We've got a lot of memes to show you today. We've got a stupid town that's packed full. So we're going to show you what it all memes right here and bring you smack dab up to date. Take a look.
There's a ton of Democratic political talent waiting in the wings for 2028.
My name is John Fetterwoman.
I am not remotely worried about that.
Really, like the 95, 95, 95.
Not remotely.
The governor and the delegation.
There's a bucket load of talent coming online.
And guess what? That
I don't think people quite realize how deep our bench actually is.
the record will remain for aiming for 5 more days, and the delays and repairs bring to its standstill. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure well in front of time. And we know it's a major aidery. Yeah, and then on top of that, the jewel kind of a law of the inflation bill. It's entertainment, and now it's turned into which dick is it going to be?
What's a jag-off?
And now this hearing is.
So that brings us to the last 6 months of the Trump presidency and the cutbacks that were part of DOGE, which were well welcomed and needed to save us some tax dollars that were going through a funnel to places that you would not even believe. One of them was the misuse of USAID, which got folded up and sent out. And along with all the screaming and gnashing of teeth by people on the left that said there would be people dying in the streets, passing out, not being able to eat, and so on and so on. Well, let me give you a real quick outlook at what USAID and the folding of it really caused in job losses. We have Colbert. We have Howard Stern now. We have Chris Cuomo. We have Joy Reid. And The View is on hiatus. And of course, let's not forget the job losses at PBS when the funding was cut back, because why are we promoting a leftist channel that hires only Democrats to try and tell you fair and unbalanced news? We don't pay for that with our hard-earned tax money that we send to this government to do the correct things. So that's all the big job losses that you're looking at today as a result of the closure of USAID that was designed in the time of John F. Kennedy for a reason, a valid reason. But since then, it became a slush fund for the bad-thinking people that were running that agency and promoting bad behavior, not only in this country, but all around the world, when they thought that they could make everybody woke, everybody scared of climate change, and everybody scared of what's really going on in the world today, and shaded and covered up by propaganda machines such as mainstream media and the newspaper industry in most of the world. If you take a look around the globe today, you'll quickly see that England is going through their turmoils. France obviously has an immigration problem. Germany is screaming about an immigration problem. And our immigration problem here is now being cleaned up for the first time in a long time. And our immigration right now is almost down to zero until we get this straightened out. And for those of you out there that are upset with the actions of the police department and ICE and people of that caliber that are out there doing the job of getting the bad eggs out of our society and away from our children and away from our women that are being sex trafficked and used as slavery in places that are the drug lords are running. And for those of you that don't understand it, the cartels have moved into this country. They're set up shop in some of our Native American reservations that need to be looked at by somebody, because we already have a problem with the introduction of alcoholism and drug abuse in those nations right now. We don't need anybody making it worse or taking all of their labor to produce drugs that will cause, millions of deaths throughout this country. The cartels have to be dealt with. We have an administration that wants to do that. But we also have an entire party, the Democratic Party, that wants to take the side of the bad actors, the cartels, and the murderers and rapists that they want released back into the streets. You have to ask yourself, and if you have any modicum of common sense, you'll realize that this is not what this nation needs right now. We need to get back to basics. We need to produce our own drugs. We need to not have our biggest enemy in the world, our sole drug supplier for antibiotics, that we have to rely on communist China to provide for our health systems. Do any one of you see the stupidity of that? It's highly unlikely that if a war should break out that we're going to be able to even have antibiotics here. We have SmithKline and French and places like that have shut down factories here or brought their factories here down to a minimum that can be restarted and get it done. There's one sits right here in Bristol, Tennessee, that was sold by SmithKline, and they got out of the business and moved their production overseas. It was a veterinary place for a while, and it's now under new management, and they're looking how to save that particular FDA-approved factory to manufacture antibiotics or any other kind of a drug here. Someone needs to get in touch with them and find out how we can get this plant up and running again. You're talking here about thousands of jobs if you so are inclined to want to increase your employment numbers in an area that has been kind of shut down because of their reticence to prop up the coal companies that were a magnificent employer here for a long time in East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. We had pharmaceuticals made here that are been closed up and gone. We need to bring that back. We're talking thousands of jobs. And it's not just here in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia. It's all over the country where we've had pharmaceutical factories shut down and shipped overseas. Bring them back. You have a president that wants that. Help have that happen come the midterm elections. And that'll take us right here to the exit to Stupid Town because we've just heard some stupid things. But let's take a look at what's going on in Stupid Town.
I'm going to I have an idea for 2 different shows. The next one possibly called Bad Parenting.
You definitely know a lot about that.
You kind of look back at the parenting you did when you were a first-time parent and you question whether or not the way you did it was right, you know? So that'll be another show. And then I'm going to do one on Dancing with the Devil, you know, the devil being the orange man.
Shocker.
And what it did to my life and my psyche and my world to be the target of his venom for 20 years.
Poor little furry thing.
So my friend Lyle Menendez is coming up for his parole hearing. I'm one of the people testifying at the parole hearing for him and for what I know of him and the man he is now and all the accomplishments he's had while in prison.
You gotta be shitting me, Joker!
And I'm very proud to be a part of their case and to be a part of their lives, and I love them both. So pay attention to that in the United States amongst all the other insanity that's going on.
Do you hear yourself when you talk?
How did this become my life? But I'm so grateful and so thankful that I am here in this place and not at home losing what's left of my mind.
You keep telling yourself that.
I got asked the question today that we've been telling ourselves that we would ask before starting friendships, you know, like who did you vote for? Somebody today asked me, they said, I'm sorry, I hate to go there, but I have to ask, who did you vote for? And I said, Kamala Harris, of course. And they said, okay. I said, you voted for Trump? No, I voted for making America great again. I was like, oh, okay. And I I had to practice my breathing techniques that my therapist taught me. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure what that means. But yeah, I voted for Kamala Harris, but really I voted for my uterus, bodily autonomy, the education of my children, their uteruses, their sexual preferences, my sexual preferences, the education, sexual preferences, bodily autonomy of every other person in this world, putting food in bellies, healthcare. I voted for those things, like humanity things. I'm not sure what Make America Great Again stands for exactly. I voted for the freedom for me to make decisions about my own body. And their response to that was exactly just like my freedom to have guns. Aliens, I know you left us, but can you come back? Because they don't get it. They don't get it, okay? I need somebody.
You have that renowned doctor, a coroner, that did the, what's it called? You know who that is? I forget his name. I can't remember what his name is. And I forget why I just told the cat on the story. And his name was, oh God, I forget his name. I forget her name. I don't know. But no, I forget his name. I'll think of his name in a second. I mean, just think about this. Is it when Ghislaine,
I think I just saw the funniest thing I'll ever see.
So what can you tell us about the art you got going on here? What a waste of time.
I am a maximalist in a lot of ways. My paintings kind of start out simple, and then I just sometimes can't stop.
What's the symbolism behind this one right here?
I don't know.
Yes, we've established that.
Do you see the figures in that?
I'm seeing a bird, and it looks like there's a Mesoamerican flair to it, but I'm also seeing the all-seeing iris. So there could be kind of a Saharan Mayan fusion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's just me trying to say stuff.
I love it.
That I don't necessarily understand.
I love it, and that's the coolest part, I think, about painting.
Man, do I sound like an idiot.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally.
Who the f***'s coming out with one next? They're getting bold. They were already bold, but they're getting f***ing bold right now. Holy shit.
Talk about DEI.
It's unbelievable.
I have not. I mean, look, again, this was a fight. It was a horrific fight. But as council member and others have said, we have significant other public safety challenges. We have children who are far too often the victims of gun violence. We have oftentimes far too often the perpetrators of gun violence being children. We have violent crime like every other major city across the nation that requires our attention and our bandwidth. And so I don't traditionally meet or speak to every victim of violent crime in our city, and that's consistent with my approach today.
Where race is a motivation, federal law may apply, end quote. The mayor calling that comment irresponsible.
There's no indication at this point that that race was a motivation in this violent act, but I think the Cincinnatians here locally deserve the truth. This was a fight. There's no indication at this point that race was a motivation. We have significant other public safety challenges. We have children who are far too often the victims of gun violence, far too often the perpetrators of gun violence being children.
I do not have time for this. I do not have time for you.
Well, that's our stupid town for today. It's Wednesday, hump day, a good day to put in a great day's work, come home and light the barbecue. And that brings us to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor here, Lazy J Farms and Butcher Shop, located in Kingsport, Tennessee on Bloomingdale Road. You'll see their number right here to call if you're so inclined. If you do not live in the area and can't pick it up, anywhere in the continental United States, you can receive a sample box or a specialty cut piece of meat that you may want to order for your barbecue or your home oven. So you can give Butch a call there at that number and tell them how you'd like your steaks cut. I particularly like a 2-inch T-bone steak or a real good porterhouse in a nice thick cut, and he'll do that for you. If you get your order in Wednesday or early Thursday morning, you'll have it at your door on Friday. And tell them when you call down there that Kaiser sent you, and they will take magnificent care of you. They also have chicken and pork products, eggs, and the best American cheese you've ever tasted. Give Butch a call and do it today. And that will bring us to an end of this Wednesday. You'll see a little bit of rain here in East Tennessee. They're forecasting very little, which should be a nice weekend coming up. We're looking forward to doing something. As I told you yesterday, we have good friends here from Florida that are looking to see things around the area here, and we'll be out and about with them. And we're looking forward to a fabulous weekend, a great Thursday on the horizon already, and Friday will take us sliding into that weekend. And until then, we're going to tell you to stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for some more of what it really means. Bye-bye. God bless.